A practical guide to mindfulness for GBS, CIDP, MMN, and variant persons. Candine Blackbeard, Bachelor of Science of Nursing, RN, CCRN, is a registered nurse trained in evidence-based medicine. She has a specialty in critical care medicine and holds a certificate in nursing, education for the practice setting from the University of Toronto, as well as a certificate in advanced principles and practice of mindfulness from McMaster University. She is currently enrolled in a Master's of Arts in Counseling Psychology degree at Yorkville University. Candine believes that utilizing conventional medicine with complementary therapies can help patients achieve optimal physical and mental wellness. Candine, thank you for being here today as part of our self-care series. I'll turn it over to you and your presentation.
Hello, my name is Candine Blackbeard. Thanks for the intro, Nancy. Today, I'm going to present to you a practical guide to mindfulness for GBS, CIDP, MMN, and variant persons. I have a history of GBS that goes back 17 years that resolved naturally with no residuals. In my late 30s, I decided to go to nursing school, and I was practicing at a level 2 ICU in trauma and neurosurge at one of the top trauma hospitals in Toronto. And I had a major life change happen where I could no longer perform nursing. So I've started to transition into teaching mindfulness and going back to school to become a psychotherapist. So I'm altogether familiar with the experience of GBS and the experience of grief over role changes and life changes, and how pain and meditation and medication all come into play for managing your wellness after a major event like this. Mindfulness was thought to be not terribly conventional medicine at all. And as time goes on, there's more and more empirical evidence to back up the benefits of mindfulness, that our Western society really values that hard science. So we're coming along as far as understanding specifically how, from a neuroscience perspective, mindfulness works. Today, we're going to use the biopsychosocial framework for mindfulness practice. This idea of the body-mind connection is intrinsic and affects every aspect of your life. The biological, psychological, and social influences in our lives are all interconnected, and each factor does affect every other factor. By manipulating those factors, we're able to support a mindfulness practice that can affect your overall physical and emotional well-being. My favorite new word in the research I've been doing lately is psychoneuroimmunoendocrinology, which is a hell of a word to try and type quickly. It now has a top spot in my vocabulary right before anti-disestablishmentarianism, which I thought was really cool in high school. This field of medicine dates back to 1936, and now it's widely accepted that various immune, autoimmune, and other pathologies have their root in epigenetic factors and stressors which can trigger diseases like GBS, CIDP, MMN, and variants. Using a mindfulness practice to complement conventional medical therapies to manage these disease processes has been researched and shown to have great value in symptom relief and prognostic indicators for clinical outcomes. Specifically, by reducing stress, anxiety, and depression, it has a protective function for the immune system and its ability to self-regulate. Mindfulness was described by Jon Kabat-Zinn as the means of paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. He's one of the leaders in mindfulness in the Western world, and we're going to talk more about the components of mindfulness and what that means on a day-to-day basis to actually be able to affect what Jon Kabat-Zinn is getting at. This is an MRI image of a brain where it's not the person is not meditating, and then they are meditating, and you can see how lit up it is. Without getting into the actual medicine behind what we're seeing, what I wanted to highlight in this slide is the change in behavior of the brain. For people who want to understand if mindfulness actually does affect the brain, we have proof. You can see it. We can image it now. It's quite remarkable. Please meet my dog Moose. He is 7 years old now, but this was taken when he was a puppy. It's been shown that when people are observing pictures of kittens and puppies, it releases neurochemicals in your brain, which strengthen your pleasure pathways. By repeatedly exposing your brain to pleasure pathways, you're decreasing the strength of the amygdala response. So what is the amygdala? The amygdala is responsible for our fight and flight response, which puts our adrenaline up and our cortisol up and makes you feel sick often. We actually now have the power, and we've been able to show this through imaging, to shrink the amygdala through regular meditation practice. The original function of the amygdala was critical. It used to help us survive life-threatening situations, like a saber-toothed tiger trying to come in and eat you, and that fight or flight would kick in and give you the resources that your body and mind needed to escape, trigger all of your resources, and go and save yourself. Today, this little tiny almond-shaped part of your brain can be triggered by silly things like being stuck in traffic, or missing a deadline at work, or a kid talking back to you. The threat evaluation has the same physiological effect today as a saber-toothed tiger coming at you, but the helpfulness of that response in today's modern society is almost always lacking. The cortisol that gets released when the amygdala is triggered wreaks havoc on the body, increases your inflammation, and decreases your immune function. When managing CBS, CIDP, MMN invariants, it's of particular importance to manage your fight or flight response, and mindfulness can play a huge role in self-regulation, emotional regulation, and self-awareness. So we've talked about how you can remodel some of the pleasure pathways and shrink your amygdala. When you're working with your brain, we need to support our body, and this comes to the biological aspect of what we're talking about. You want to eat healthy, nutrient-dense foods. It's really important, especially when junk food is so easy to grab today, that we're picking healthy choices. I know it sounds like everybody's told you your whole life to eat an apple. If you try doing that for a few weeks and leaving your processed foods and your fast food behind, and you replace it with healthy proteins, healthy fats, it can go a long way towards supporting your brain in its function. A general rule of thumb is when you're in the grocery store, shop the perimeter. That's where you're going to find all those fresh foods. And you still want to take care not to be picking up the processed meats and whatnot. During this Take Charge series at the Foundation, we're very lucky to have Dr. Walls provide dietary approaches for managing neuroimmune conditions. Look out for her presentation. Drinking water is also very important. With very few exceptions related to some kidney and cardiac issues, most people are dehydrated and need to drink more water. And again, this helps your feelings of fatigue and your brain health. And sleep is often something that we overlook and undervalue in this society. The phrase, "oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead," is commonly thrown around. Well, you need sleep, your brain needs sleep, your body needs sleep. And making time for that and making your bedroom a place where you can get good sleep and you're not having screen time before you go to bed is really important. Again, your body and your brain health, they are connected. So I've talked a lot recently in my other work about consistency over perfection, meaning just show up every day. You're not going to be perfect with it. Try to get your water in, try to eat well, mindfully check in with how your body is feeling, because food has a lot of emotional weight in our social culture. It's tied to holidays, celebrations, birthdays, and mindfully eating can not only affect your body, but it also changes how your mind is working. Making sure you're eating when you're hungry because you need fuel instead of grabbing a bag of chips because you're bored or it's a habit that you've picked up years ago can go a long way towards managing a healthy weight. And obesity is also a major problem that our society struggles with today. Your brain requires high quality foods for the vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants to nourish and protect it from oxidative stress. And diets that are high in processed food and refined sugar are damaging to the brain and again contribute to inflammation. Inflammation is a major thing that we're going to keep coming back to again and again. Where you eat also contributes to how you're feeling and your ability to check in and see, am I full? Have I had enough? If you're in a busy, loud restaurant, you're not really paying attention to your meal. Or if you're binge watching Grey's Anatomy, again, you're not paying attention to how your body is feeling and the cues. I grew up in a house where it was highly encouraged that I eat everything on my plate. And that idea came out of food shortages, which in our society in Canada, most of us are fortunate enough that we don't have to worry about food shortages. So you really need to stop eating when you're full and check in with when you are full. And if you choose a nice peaceful spot in your home or where you're out to enjoy your food, it makes a very big difference into how you're feeling. Who you're eating with can also influence your food choices. If you're with your friends that are gabbing a mile a minute, you're again not, checking in with how you're doing. Or if I have a grandmother who would offer me candy bars, and until I accepted a candy bar, she really wanted me to have a treat, and that was how she was expressing her love. Compared to if I'm hanging out with friends that I used to go to the gym with, and a big salad for lunch, that's what we would do. That our social influence really affects our behavior. And being respectful to your body often means saying no to social pressures and saying yes to your health. Saying no is a gift to yourself. And it's a respectful boundary that you can set up between you and the world around you. The food has a lot of emotional power. And these treats can often be really unhealthy, especially when we have a goal we're trying to accomplish. It's really beneficial if you can try to reframe your idea of what a treat is into something healthy, like going for a massage or enjoying a walk. Other things that are going to help your brain are having a daily practice of gratitude. At my house, before meal times, I always have everybody stop and acknowledge something that we're grateful for. My son has sometimes thrown things out there like, I'm grateful for electricity. And you know what? It counts. That counts. Or it can be something more profound, like, I'm really grateful that I have an opportunity to be here today to share this stuff with you guys. Gratitude practice has been shown and associated with improved mental health, improved quality of life, and a shift in our experience of stress. There's so much research out there, again, to back this up. And research has also shown that setting intentions for outcomes that we want to reach, you're much more likely to accomplish those goals. When you do choose to set goals, it's important that you make them SMART goals, which refers to them being very specific, measurable, reasonable, and time sensitive. Like if you have a goal to do a 5-kilometer run, they are very specific. On October 3rd, I want to do a 5-kilometer run. It's measurable. You say it's a 5-kilometer run with my friends. Is it reasonable? That's up to you to determine. And time sensitive, you set a goal for October 3rd. So you need to back into that date and be accountable to it. So all of that lecturing, it's also being shown. I'm a big fan of empirical science, if you can't tell. People can pay attention for about 10 minutes at a time before they check out. So we're at about 10 plus minutes now. We're going to take a checkout break on purpose. We're going to do a body scan. There's lots of different meditations out there that you can access, but I'm going to lead you through one right now. And this is one of my favorite ones that I now just know it because I've done it so many times. But we're going to go from a heads down approach, which is somewhat unconventional if you are used to doing body scans. And I find that more helpful. So if you'll just take a moment to take a few deep breaths and settle into your chair, or if you're watching this in bed, wherever you are, and kind of center yourself and let yourself relax on your exhale. Let your shoulders drop. A lot of people carry so much tension in their shoulders and their neck. You can close your eyes if you want to, keep them open if you're not comfortable with that. And we're just going to bring attention to our heads. You bring attention to the weight of your head. And pay attention to how your hair follicles feel all over your head. Even your eyebrows and your eyelashes. If you're holding anything in your forehead, let it go. Let your eyes relax. Take another deep breath in. And when you exhale, let that relaxation come over your body a little bit more. Bring your attention to your neck. See if you're holding any tightness there, any stress. Maybe you need to roll it out a little bit. Maybe that feels good. To loosen those muscles a little bit. Feel your energy moving down into your shoulders. Let them fall back. Lots of us sit hunched over all day at a desk. Roll your shoulders back. Feel that space in your chest opening up. And breathe into it. Get comfortable with it. And if you're experiencing any pain, just sit with it. It's okay. You are safe right now. You are going to be just fine, and breathe into those feelings of discomfort. They'll be much more likely to release if you don't fight them. Coming back to your body, feel a warmth traveling down from your shoulders, down to your arms, your upper arms, your elbows, your forearms. Feel it going into your fingertips. Maybe you feel a lightness coming over your limbs, a tingling in your hands. Some people express that they feel a warmth filling their limbs. Just enjoy that for a moment. Feel that warmth and relaxation coming back into your chest and your heart center, going from the front to the back, around your ribs, through your lungs. If you're able, try to check in with your actual heartbeat. Take another deep breath in and a deep breath out, and let it go. Let all the air out. Take another deep breath in. Feel your belly go out as you fill up with air. And as you exhale this time, let your belly fall. Push all the air out of your lungs. Feel your lower back relaxing. Any tightness you might be holding in your glutes. And slowly bring that energy down to the top of your thighs. And the back of your legs. Bring that warmth and healing into your knees. Your knees take a lot of abuse. Spend a little extra love, a little extra time in here. Put some healing thoughts into what you're thinking. And if your mind wanders, that's okay. Just bring it back. We don't need to worry about the grocery list right this moment. Take that attention, bring it down to your calves, shins. That warm healing into your ankles and your feet. And then each toe. See if you can activate those. Take another deep breath in and let it go. See how your body feels different now than at the beginning of the meditation. Are you more relaxed? To wiggle your fingers and toes, come back to the room. When you take in the next deep breath, come back fully. Come back to this presentation. And see how you feel. I know that even leading you through that, my body is more comfortable, my mind is more still. I have a much deeper sense of comfort. But moving along, we've just discussed and rounded out the physical side of mindfulness. I hope that gave you a sense of it, how our diet and our sleep and our water and the stresses that we have affect us. We're now going to talk about the psychology of mindfulness and how our lived experience is informed by what we think about the events in our lives. What may seem catastrophic to someone may be an absolute blessing and extraordinary to someone else. In our world, maybe, picking up a chicken for dinner is just an ordinary, boring thing that we're doing on our way home. Depending on another society or economic experience, maybe that chicken is a major treat and it's quite an event for them. How we interpret events in our lives has such an effect on our mental wellness, even if it's the same event for different people. There are so many wonderful testimonials on the Foundation's website, which share clients' lived experiences with their conditions. Having GBS-CIDP, MMN, and variants can have a silver lining with developing better coping skills, adopting healthier lifestyles, and improved relationships with friends and relatives. Being able to harness that silver lining mentally can help you navigate the challenges that you're being faced with and greatly affect your quality of life. Now, that's not to say that we want to partake in toxic positivity where everything's wonderful all the time. It's not. Sometimes things are awful, and we need to also acknowledge that. But globally, if we can frame things from a positive viewpoint, it will make you happier and healthier long term. So back to the science of mindfulness. The mindfulness, when it is studied by researchers, is done by using the FFMQ. It's the 5 facets of mindfulness. It's a questionnaire that at this point, by my count, has been used by well over 6,000 independent researchers to measure the effects of mindfulness. Mindfulness has been shown to increase the detachments from our thoughts and our emotions. That process is called decentering. Decentering is allowing you to have a cognitive flexibility where you have value clarification happening, self-regulation is possible, and exposure. So decentering has been shown to be strongly correlated to positive health outcomes. When I say that, I mean outcomes related to the experience of stress, to having lower levels of anxiety and the symptoms, and major improvements in many depressive symptoms that people are often treated for pharmacologically. And sometimes they're able to be transitioned off of pharmacological interventions by a mindfulness practice. All of these are really important when managing a health issue like GBS-CIDP, MMN, and variants, to have control over how you're thinking about things. So what that means for a practical, how do I do it perspective, if you look at this wheel here that I've presented, at the top, there's observing. So the object here is to observe your thoughts as they arrive. A thought is not necessarily the truth. You can think the world is ending. It doesn't mean that the world is ending. So when you're having the thought, the next step would be to be able to describe it. I think that the world is ending and the sensation I'm experiencing is anxiety. I feel anxious about it. Acting with awareness means just being fully present in the moment. So just really sitting with that, like, oh my gosh, the world is ending. I'm so anxious, and just sitting with it and being like, this is what I'm experiencing. These are the thoughts I'm having. I recognize that they're not necessarily true. And the next step is to be non-judgmental about that experience. Accept what you're thinking for what it is, and don't judge it as being good or bad. It just is. Those are thoughts, those are experiences, those are emotions. They just are. It's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. Being non-reactive to it is allowing the experience to pass without getting worked up about it and without making an effort to change it. so you're not resisting the emotions and the thoughts that you're having. They're just there. And the less you resist, the more they tend to flow through you. A nice way to ground yourself if you're having these experiences that are upsetting to you is with 4x4 breath work. I talk about it later in the presentation, but again, we're almost near that 10-minute mark. We're going to take a very short break and do some 4x4 breathing. So what that means is you're going to breathe in to the count of 4. You're going to hold it to the count of 4. You're going to exhale to the count of 4, and you're going to hold that empty space in your lungs to the count of 4 before breathing in again. I'm going to go over it with you just a few times now to give you the tools to take that forward and move forward with that on your own. And you can come back to it as you need to. It's a very simple thing that you can do at your desk. You can do it in traffic. You can do it to help you go to bed at night. So let's just try this together for a minute. So we're going to breathe into the count of 4. So 2, 3, 4. Hold it at the top. 2, 3, 4. Let it out completely. Empty your lungs. 2, 3, 4. Sit with empty lungs. 2, 3, 4. Repeat it again. Up to 4. 2, 3, 4. Hold it at the top. 2, 3, 4. Dump it out. Empty your lungs. 2, 3, 4. Hold it empty. 2, 3, 4. One more time. Big breath in. 2, 3, 4. Hold it like a balloon. 2, 3, 4. Dump it out. 2, 3, 4. Hold your empty lungs. 2, 3, 4. And resume breathing normally. Now, hopefully that's given you a pause, a little bit of a break. You can see how that really grounds you down very quickly. A lovely short exercise that you can do anywhere. Moving along, rumination. We all do it. A large number of studies have shown that rumination is highly correlated to heightened emotional distress in acute and chronic illness. And the experience of pain is magnified with negative ruminations and is a strong predictor of disability. So if we just think about that for a minute, these ruminations that we have cause emotional distress, particularly when we're having acute and chronic illness, which is the population we're speaking with right now, and the pain that is experienced. And it should be said that that pain is both physical and cognitive and emotional that I'm referring to, is made much worse with negative ruminations and can predict disability. So even when we're facing acute and chronic illness, the goal is obviously to avoid disability. So keep that in mind when we're moving forward with mindfulness exercises, because mindfulness can help stop rumination. Where do you want to go in life? By having these diagnoses that have happened, it often will make you take stock of the direction your life was headed. Sometimes it's a period of grief follows a diagnosis with an illness, and adjusting to it, that illness, it can take time. And recognizing that perhaps the path you were on is no longer the path that you'd like to be on. When you're looking at where you want to go, you need to plan where you want to go. You need to prioritize what you're doing in your life to help you get there. And particularly, you need to pace yourself. Major changes don't happen overnight. So maybe after your diagnosis, health suddenly became a priority. And that reality check of spending time doing the things that you like becomes more important. So setting those intentions and goals is essential to your mental wellness. Remembering that you are the captain of your ship and you can take direction where your life is headed. Ways that you can help cope with illness are by focusing on your emotional well-being. Using a strength-based outlook and focusing on what you can do and not what you can't do makes a big difference to how you're feeling. So maybe there are things that you cannot do anymore that you used to be able to do. But maybe there's tons of things that you still can do, or even new things that you can do that you could focus on instead. Life is short, so making the time to enjoy your life, to do the things that make you happy, to make time for that book you've been meaning to read. I've got a stack of books up pile high. Like I will not live long enough to read all the books that I want to read. Making time for that is important if that's something you enjoy. Journaling can really help you process your thoughts and your feelings. I know when I felt really low in the past, when I've been coping with and adjusting to the changes in my life, keeping a journal of gratitude I have found to be extremely helpful. And every night, in addition to my meals, I would write something in my day that I was grateful for. And it didn't have to be a big thing. It could be, oh, I'm grateful I saw my daughter smile today and I was there to see it. That's fantastic. And I would date it. And I have this long chronology of I can go back and see all the good things that have happened in my life. Every single day, I can find at least one really good thing that happened in my life. It can really help to revisit that if you're having a low day. Keeping a routine in your life when you're going through change and through stress can help maintain feelings of stability while all these other things are happening. And reaching out to your friends and your family or support groups. If you're not aware, the foundation has amazing support groups. Check in, connect with those people. It'll make you feel good to have like-minded people that light you up to be with. So more grounding strategies. We've already done some 4x4 breathing, which is great. And it's so easy to do wherever you are. I can't stress that enough. It can bring down your anxiety levels tremendously. If you are a very anxious person, 5 things is a great grounding technique. So the 5 things are: acknowledge 5 things that you can see around you. So in my office right now, I can see a lot of plants. I can see my printer. I can see my water cup. I can see my laptop, and I can see my slippers. Those are 5 things that are around me. 4 things that you can touch. I can touch my keyboard. I can touch my jeans. I can touch the chair I'm sitting on, and I can pick up my glass of water. 3 things you can hear. Well, right this moment, I can hear my fan. I can hear my laptop moving. I can hear my clock ticking. And I can hear some noise outside, probably from traffic. 2 things that you can smell. Well, I can smell the laundry soap in my clothing. And I can smell just what my office smells like. It has its own, it smells like printer paper and computer things. And then one thing that you can taste. I had a cup of coffee earlier, and I can still taste that I had a cup of coffee earlier. Having a glass of water or a cup of tea is also a really nice way to ground yourself. I know a lot of mindfulness teachers that like to start their day with a cup of tea. Thich Nhat Hanh was a famous Eastern mindfulness leader who recently passed away. And every morning he would start his day with a cup of tea. And his tea would take him a very long time, but he would have it really slowly and really check in mindfully with it. It's a lovely way to start your day calmly. And it's an opportunity at that time to set an intention for your day. So how he described it in one of the seminars that he said, now he used a cup of tea, but he said, you pour your glass of water and pay attention to how the water flows into the cup and the sound it makes. And if there's any smell that comes from it, maybe there's chlorine that comes off of the water. When you bring the glass up to your mouth, feel the weight of the glass. Is the glass itself cold or warm? Take a small sip of the water and feel how your mouth gets wet and the sensation of swallowing it. Can you feel the water going down your esophagus and into your stomach? Is it cold? Is it warm? It seems like such a simple practice to just check in and have your cup of coffee or your tea or your cup of water, but it can be very grounding and a great way to start your day. Before, in my previous life, I was an avid cyclist. Before I became injured, I would do cycling marathons. I did the Ride for Heart every year. And if there was a trail ride to be found, I was on it. I loved taking my bike everywhere with me, and it was my favorite way to get around. So many years ago, I had finished going for a long cycle in the woods, and it was some pretty hard backcountry stuff, a very rough trail. And I decided to write about it a little bit after my experience, because I left my house feeling a bit agitated, and I came home feeling completely at peace and calm. And I wrote, it's more fun on the road less traveled. But I mean, that's me. I like the backcountry stuff. And don't hang on too tight. The road is always bumpy. At least when cycling, if you hold on to your handlebars too tight, your hands are going to hurt and you actually lose control of your bike. Carry your own water. You're going to get thirsty. Now, this I liken to not only carry your own water, but make sure that you're independent of your basic needs. You don't want to rely on somebody else for basic needs like that. Lots of people listen to music when they cycle. For me, turn off the music and quiet your mind. Therein lies the peace. We're tempted to check out while doing things like this, or to always have the TV on when we're eating or hanging out in the living room. When you turn the music off and you're just present, things can get really quiet and peaceful, especially if you're doing a physical activity. It really helps. And listen, time is going to pass whether you want it to or not. So try to enjoy the ride. My father used to say to me, this is not a dress rehearsal. We got one shot and this is it. You're going to do it once. So make it count. Okay, social mindfulness. We are inherently social beings. So become aware of what lifts you up and what makes you feel low. Shift your energy into doing more of what excites you. I know we all have things in life that we have to do, like clean the floors, that aren't very exciting, but put more energy into what lights you up, what gets you going. If you're talking about the latest book you read, or the cycle that you just did, or maybe you're a doctor and you just did a conference on neurology and you love doing it. Do more of that. We're often pulled in many directions and we have to choose what we want to spend our time doing. Time is a limited resource. And we often try to do too much to our detriment. It's this culture we live in is, oh, I'm so busy, I don't have time for anything. And that's seen as a badge these days, and it shouldn't be. Taking time to settle and making time to do nothing, to be mindful, to be present, should be valued more than, oh, I have so many things on the go. You wouldn't believe how busy I am, which is now held as this badge of honor. So we need to shift our idea about what we're focusing on and why we're doing it. Researchers have shown that personality traits are definitively associated with disease progression. And some of the studies I read spoke to the more open, extroverted, and conscientious a person is, the slower the disease progression. So you have control for chronic disease to some extent over the speed of its progression, which is pretty remarkable. We're just talking about mindfulness right now. We're not talking about medication or other interventions. Just being present can slow disease progression. Allow yourself to set respectful boundaries with others and get really comfortable saying no. It's one of my favorite things that as I've gotten older is to say no. And also, I don't know. When we're younger, we tend to want to know everything. I'm so happy not knowing everything anymore. So saying no is a skill that most of us are not skilled at. The inability to say no can have serious health consequences that can lead to burnout and other things. We're taught as kids to be agreeable and you want to make people happy. Most people are inherently people pleasing. People please yourself. Prioritize yourself. Say no to doing too much. You don't want to experience burnout. You must take care of your health, whether you're healthy or sick or experiencing chronic illness. Being healthy is so important across the bar for your mental health, for where you want to go in life. For again, this is not a dress rehearsal. I heard this from somebody else. I thought it was so brilliant. Somebody was saying, well, what do you do in your free time? Let's change that idea. There is no such thing as free time. We just have time. So be really intentional about how you're allocating those resources. Oh, we've already talked about this, how we are social beings and we live in complex social networks. Many people I've met and clients I've worked with over the years, as a registered nurse and a critical care nurse, have been diagnosed with serious illnesses, and they've shared their stories with me about how their illnesses have affected every relationship they've had. I know many people whose marriages did not survive a diagnosis. I have several friends that have gone through cancer treatment and their marriages dissolved, or who've been diagnosed with CIDP and their marriages dissolved. I also have friends that have experienced cancer and it solidified their relationship. It made their marriage so much stronger. So when you're having chronic or acute illness, it affects all aspects of your life and every relationship you have. So seek help for the symptoms you're experiencing. You can connect with people who can offer you some insight into what you're experiencing. Again, moving to those support groups, speaking to the fact that we're social beings who live in a social community. The foundation is a great way to connect with other people in a socially meaningful way. And being socially mindful means paying attention to how you affect others and how others affect you. You know, there's some people that we can hang out with and they're just always negative, and you just leave feeling, ugh, that was a lot of energy to be present with that person. And then there's other people that just light you up and you feel so good being around them. So be socially mindful of how people are reacting to your energy and your presence and how you're feeling around them. We've all met people, I think, that we instantly don't feel wonderful about. They just kind of grade us the wrong way. And then other people who just light us up. And you're bigger than your diagnosis, whatever your diagnosis is. It's not, you know, it's Jane's cancer. It's Jane is experiencing cancer. So separate yourself from the diagnosis. It's not the you of it. Okay, how do we nurture our social selves? Connecting with a friend. We've talked about that quite a bit. Find your people, group of like-minded people, whether it's through the foundation or a book club or a cycling group or whatever your people looks like to you. Giving back, contributing to society can feel so good. And this can be as simple as cleaning out your closet and donating a bag of clothes to the Diabetes Foundation. Paying it forward is also really important, to have interpersonal benevolence where we are feeling kindness and benevolent to people around us. Having social mindfulness is a function of well-functioning societies. So being socially mindful is associated with feelings of inclusivity, having a better mood, and having a sense of belonging, which is important for everybody. No one is an island unto themselves, and it's important to recognize the role that we play as part of this interconnected mosaic of people and the environment. We don't exist by ourselves. We exist in this web of everything that we live in. So be mindful of a small effect that a tiny act of kindness can have, or a contribution to society, how it can influence yourself and others around you. I did an experiment once for fun where I bought coffee for the person in the Tim Hortons lineup behind me because I saw something on a TikTok or whatnot. And you should have seen their face. I mean, this is less than $2 out of my pocket to buy somebody, a random stranger, a cup of coffee. I bet it made their day. Their face was like a 1,000,000-watt light bulb. Little things like that cost almost no money, or you can find things that cost no money at all. And it will have a ripple effect through that person's life, which will in turn affect their coworkers and their family and their friends. It's one small act of kindness, a tiny thing, something that might be a nothing thing to you can be such a big deal to somebody else. Okay, compassion. Back to that social aspect. We are right near the end of this presentation, so bear with me. We're going to do a short compassion meditation. And some people live more from a paradigm of, especially in Western society, individualism, compared to a collectivist mindset that comes more from Eastern traditions. I encourage you to shift from being individualistic to identifying and understanding more with the group and the society and wellness. So again, just settle yourselves, relax, close your eyes if you're comfortable closing your eyes, keep them open if you prefer. Take a nice deep breath in Let it out, let your shoulders drop. Just kind of settle into wherever you are today in your day. And I want you to make a moment to recognize that everybody wants to feel love, and everybody wants to feel happy. Everybody wants to feel joy and be healthy. Turn that spotlight on yourself. I want to feel love. I want to feel happy. I want to feel healthy. And sit with that for a moment. You deserve to be loved. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be healthy. Really fill up on that feeling, on that intention. But take that intention and think of somebody that you just adore. It could be a worker, a spouse, a child, a friend. It could be somebody you don't know. It could be an author or an actor, somebody you just really respect in society, and turn those feelings of adoration and that spotlight of love and compassion onto them. Recognize they want to feel love. They want to feel happy. They want to be healthy. And sit with that, recognize that. Direct your energy towards wishing them happiness and love and health. Fill them up with that. And take that attention, spread it out to your friends and family. That bubble of loving kindness and empathy and happiness and health. All the people that you care about directly. Point your attention at filling those people up as much as you're able in this bubble of light, of love, happiness, and health. We're going to expand our bubble and make it bigger. We're going to take that bubble of intention and we're going to put it out across our neighborhood, the whole neighborhood that you live in. Whether you like your neighbors or not, spread out to recognize that everybody wants to be loved and happy and healthy. And try to aim your energy at that. Put your intention into wishing those people, hoping that those people experience love and happiness and health. Let's make that bigger. Let's push it out to our province or territory or state or wherever you're tuning in from today. Try to picture that entire group of people, that entire geographic area just blown up with your feelings of love and compassion to them. Understanding that they all want and need love, or all desiring happiness and good health. Really wish it upon them. Everyone in that large area. Make that bigger still. Push that bubble, that energy, that intention out. Capture your country, the whole country you live in, for healing, for love, for health, compassionate. Recognize that everybody in that bubble that you're thinking about right now, every single one of them, regardless of their demeanor or where they're coming from, they need those things. They want those things, and they deserve those things. Last push, big one. Grab the whole world. Every person on this globe. Every corner of this globe. Push that bubble out and send them love and light and happiness and wishes for good health. Now I'm going to ask you to do the hardest part. I want you to take somebody that really needs a lot of love. It really sets your spine off just in not the right way. Somebody that perhaps has done you harm or treated you poorly, or you really struggle with this person. I want you to pick the hardest person that you can think of. And again, maybe it's Doesn't have to be somebody you know directly. Maybe this is somebody that you've seen through the news. Somebody really atrocious. Potentially, it could just be don't like very much. And I want you to frame that as every single person on earth needs love and happiness and health. Every single person deserves it. We can take that intention and blast it at the person that's absolutely the hardest person that we can think of to send that energy to. And imagine what their lives would look like if they had received those things that they need through their life. Would it be different? If we had those basic building blocks that we need to fill us up, would they still be so caustic to us? Would things have turned out the way that they did? So bring that love and energy and light back to yourself. You always have to start with yourself. Fill yourself up. Fill yourself up with love, and with happiness, and with health. And see if you don't feel a little bit more compassionate to somebody the next time that they cut you off in traffic, or they're rude to you in a grocery store lineup. As a nurse, if somebody's being abrupt with me, or I have interpreted them to be unkind to me, I always try to give them the benefit of the doubt. Are they on the way to the hospital? Is their parent dying? Is their partner having a baby? Did they just get a job that they let go? They're coming home and suddenly they're unemployed, or they just received a diagnosis that is frightening and upsetting. See if you can't find a little more compassion in your day-to-day lived experience of being able to extend to them the idea that they need love and they want happiness and health. And we have no idea what other people are struggling with, ever. So moving beyond that, thank you so much for being here with me today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I loved being able to give this presentation. Mindfulness is a passion of mine. I love integrating the medicine and the empirical evidence into what you can transform your life like, into how it can provide you with physical, mental, psychological, and social wellness. It is a remarkable practice. I've seen it work as a nurse. I've seen it work as a mindfulness instructor, and I'm learning all about it right now as a student of psychotherapy. Thank you. I hope you have an amazing day. If you have any questions, you can reach me at cblackbeard@gbs-CIDP.ca. I'd be happy to answer whatever questions I can. There are some extra resources that you can find. I have no affiliation and I'm not particularly endorsing anyone, but there's a lot of free content to be found out there for guided meditations. Some sites, apps that I've used on my phone are Headspace, Calm, and Insight Timer. But YouTube also has fabulous free meditations that you can access. There's ones for sleep and daily gratitude and body scans. And if you can think of it, they're out there and you can access a lot of that content for free. So if you enjoy having guided meditation, please access those resources. They're there, they're easy to get to. These are some of the references for the information that I shared with you. And thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Take this forward, pay it forward. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you so much, Candine, for your wonderful and insightful presentation on mindfulness and its many benefits for our community. I am sure that we will all find a few things from your presentation that we can take away to use in our personal lives. Please note that you can come back to review this presentation on this platform until February 13th. And Candine has several articles on our website that you can review as well. Thank you again, Candine.